under the new regulations, what's the requirements regarding the data protection officer?
Yeah, well, there are some changes actually
Okay.
regarding the data protection officer. I mean, first, what I would say that to any business is that you must designate somebody within your business who's responsible for managing data protection and data protection compliance and monitoring. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
Now, should that be a formally appointed data protection officer? Not necessarily, but in certain circumstances now, the GDPR requires you to appoint a formal data protection officer. That's a requirement. The circumstances where you must do that are if you're a public authority, if you conduct large-scale systematic monitoring of individuals' data, or if you process on a large scale any special categories of data. So those are the sensitive areas of data: health, criminal records, political and religious beliefs, and so on. So in those circumstances, you must actually appoint a formal DPO. Now, you can appoint a data protection officer if you don't manage data on that scale, and it might be a good idea to do that. But in any event, you should, as I say, identify someone in the business who will take that responsibility. And you've got to think about where that would fit in the business, a suitable position in the business. Certainly, if you're obliged to appoint a data protection officer formally, there are certain key aspects to where that should sit in the business. First of all, the data protection officer should report to the highest level of the business. This whole GDPR regulation, it's designed to give it significant importance at board level. So that position becomes a key position in your business, and it must report to the highest level. Furthermore, it should be independent. So, for example, it should be free from influence from other parts of the business in terms of data protection, monitoring, and assessment. And for example, that you should not, as data protection officer, you should not be dismissed for conducting data protection officer duties. That's a key thing. You should also have the knowledge and resources made available to you. So it's no good just appointing a data protection officer in theory, if you like, as a post with some sort of reporting line to the board, but actually they've got no resources to conduct the activity. It's an important role. You should have resources, the right reporting framework, and you should be independent.
So, Peter, what are the minimum tasks for the data protection officer then?
Yeah, the minimum tasks, the key tasks really for the data protection officer are to inform the business in general and the employees in particular about their obligations to comply with the GDPR. That involves obviously a lot of things. It can involve really training, instructing staff, but the DPO is also responsible for compliance with it themselves. So they may undertake internal audits, reviews. They're the main point of contact for staff in the business. If they want to point out or have any issues, need advice about data protection, or if there's a breach, they would inform the data protection officer as well. So those are the key tasks really. Also, of course, there'd be the point of contact with the supervisory authorities. So UK's case, that's the Information Commissioner's Office. They would liaise with them over any issues. Of course, depending on the type of business, but another key task would be to make sure that in the event that a privacy impact assessment was required, they would oversee that to some extent, certainly be involved in it to make sure it was undertaken in the right manner. Significant tasks. I think there's no compulsion for a data protection officer to be qualified in anything. They are expected to have sufficient knowledge though to undertake the duties, and if they did have qualifications, all the better. So those are the key tasks and important role.
Right. Okay. So it's informing, and to some extent doing, and then including internal audits, and then also being the point of contact. Any other specific things on top, like personal impact assessments?
As you say, privacy impact assessments would be
Yeah.
could be a big task
Yeah.
if
All
that
right.
was relevant.
Thanks so much.